VA Shiva is a product of my journey across East and West. Welcome to VA Shiva. VA Shiva is a product of my journey across East and West, science and tradition, ancient and modern, that brings you the science of systems so you can become a force for truth, freedom, health. VA Shiva is a platform of revolutionary education, community building, and weaponry for unleashing local activism. My journey to VA Shiva begins in the chaos of Bombay, where I experienced diverse religions, languages. Because someone just said there was no sound. Thank you for letting me hear that. So let me start all over again. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. Sorry about that. I was wondering why people joined and then left. But we're going to be talking about Black Cumin Seed today. And that's what I began talking about. But before I go into that, what I was sharing was that when we look at something like Black Cumin Seed, when we look at any of the videos I do, be it on something like Black Cumin Seed, or I look at anything about even understanding political systems, I always take a systems approach. So I'm going to share with you that video first. That's what I was doing. Sorry about that, everyone. Here we go. Let's go here. Welcome to VA Shiva. VA Shiva is a product of my journey across East and West, science and tradition, ancient and modern, that brings you the science of systems so you can become a force for truth, freedom, health. VA Shiva is a platform of revolutionary education, community building, and weaponry for unleashing local activism. My journey to VA Shiva begins in the chaos of Bombay, where I experienced diverse religions, languages, castes, and in a small village that had no running water, no electricity, where my grandmother, a poor village farmer, practiced Siddha, an ancient system of Indian medicine over 10,000 years old. She observed one's face, the art of Samudrika Lakshanam, to understand a body's unique constitution, allowing her to deliver the right medicine for the right person at the right time. Watching my grandmother heal others, I was inspired to study medicine, but I was also aware of the corrupt caste system of India, which denigrated a human being, where my family were considered low caste untouchables, where one's birth determined one's destiny. The grit and determination of my mother and father led them to get educated and to come to America, a 1 in a trillion event. Their actions inspired me to work hard and excel. While in 9th grade, I attended New York University in a computer science program, and subsequently, at the age of 14, was given a full-time job as a research fellow at what is now known as Rutgers Medical School in the heart of Newark, New Jersey. There I investigated the system of sleep using mathematics, computer science, and biology for sudden infant death syndrome. It was there in Newark where I invented email, when I was the first to convert every feature of the physical, paper-based interoffice mail system, including inbox, outbox, memo, carbon copy, blind carbon copy, attachments, into its electronic equivalent, a system which I named email, a term that I was the first to coin. On August 30th, 1982, I was awarded the first U.S. copyright for the invention of this system, recognizing me as the inventor of email. At that time, copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I went on to MIT, where I earned 4 degrees across multiple systems of engineering: electrical, mechanical, design, biological. That training led me to invent many other systems for advancing humankind. EchoMail, the world's first intelligent email management system. CytoSolve, a computational biology system for eliminating animal testing to discover new medicines faster, cheaper, and safer. And to the creation of a whole systems methodology for certifying clean food. These innovations led me back on a Fulbright to India, where I discovered the missing link between Eastern medicine and Western systems theory, honoring my grandmother, to develop Your Body, Your System, a powerful tool that will help you understand how your body is a system and how the inputs of food, supplements, and exercise bring your body back to its natural system state. And Systems Health, an integrative educational discipline that is now integrated into the VA Shiva platform that will enable you to learn the science of systems, the science of everything, be it your body as a system or our society and politics as a system, to reveal the foundational interrelationships between truth, freedom, health. Now is the time for you to be the light, learn the science of systems, build community, and weaponize yourself to unleash the activism necessary to deliver truth, freedom, health in your local community. Welcome to VA Shiva. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to VA Shiva. Today, we're going to be talking about Black Cumin Seed and how it boosts immunity. So that short video that I just played gave you an overview about my personal journey to systems. System science is a very powerful and profound way for all of you to learn how to see the interconnections between things. The modern science of systems was really built around the 1930s with the development of cybernetic theory. But it goes far beyond that to 10 to 20,000 years ago. Every Monday evening from 7 to 10 p.m. as a part of our VA Shiva Truth, Freedom, and Health Warrior training program, I take 3 hours out. It's a personal private class. We do it online, and I teach. Yesterday or Monday, we had close to 200 people on. But every day, people are signing up. But the goal is to educate you on a fundamental science of everything, so you could understand how your body works as a system, how things within your body work, and pretty much how everything outside of your body works, including political systems. So it is a fundamental need, particularly in the modern century. Otherwise, you're going to get into the world of reductionism, right? Looking at things from the left or right, black or white, Republican, Democrat, right? Looking at the parts of a problem, not the whole. So in the videos that I do, what I attempt to do is, even if I look at a particular ingredient and how it affects the body, we take a systems approach, not a cherry picking approach, trying to interconnect many of the pieces as possible. So that's what we're going to do today. So today we're going to take a look at a Black Cumin Seed, and we're going to go through the entire history of it, where it came from, what it's about, etc. So again, if you go to vashiva.com, you can find more about the Truth, Freedom, Health Warrior program. I encourage everyone to go to vashiva.com/join. But let's talk about Black Cumin Seed right now and what it's really about. Okay, so it'll give you a deep understanding today, and particularly its relevance to immune health. But this is what we're going to learn today. What you're going to learn today are what are Black Cumin Seeds. So that's the first thing. And then we're going to understand the molecular composition, meaning what is Black Cumin Seeds made up of? What are the molecular entities? As you know, that in nature, we have the ability to, nature itself creates very powerful chemical compounds. You don't need to go to a pharmacist to understand that food is medicine. And one of the powerful things that we're going to learn here is that Black Cumin Seed has a lot of very interesting constitutive chemicals, which affect different targets in your body. Another way to think about it is, if you think about your body as a very powerful system of chemical reactions, trillions of chemical reactions that are taking place right now, different parts of your body, or particularly at the cellular level, have like catcher's mitts, if you want to think about it, or chemicals, which are receptors. So when a particular chemical lands on that, it'll, like a chain reaction, cascade a whole bunch of chemical reactions. So food is actually medicine. It's when you eat food, we're hitting many, many different types of targets, and those are essentially creating an orchestra. So literally, food, natural compounds create an orchestra of reactions, because they're not just made of one ingredient. Now, a pharmaceutical drug, unlike a food element, is made of typically one synthetic compound, one compound. So it's more like a very targeted missile that goes and affects one target and elicits a set of reactions. Now, the problem is that it may also elicit a lot of side effects, right? A pharmaceutical drug, again, is a chemical compound that does not occur in nature. It is man-made, versus when you look at compounds that occur in nature, the argument is that those compounds, over our evolution, our body has at least had some way of modulating that, versus a synthetic compound that never did. So that's why I think it's important to understand this difference. So we're looking at the molecular composition. So when we look at the molecular composition today, we're going to look at the molecular composition of black cumin seeds, which is going to have many, many different functional elements to it. We're also going to look at how cumin seeds affect biological functions, then the broader health benefits, and then how cumin seeds affects on the immune system. And then we're going to talk about the clinical evidence on black cumin seeds dosaging. Many of you always say, Dr. Shiva, well, how much should I take? Well, this is, again, not a medical prescription show. It's a exposition of what is in the current literature that we've been able to uncover and intersecting that through our technology, CytoSolve. All right, so let's go into this. So black cumin seeds, I don't know if you've seen them, but I have some, here I have them. They're pretty dark looking. They look almost like coal. They're native to the Middle and Southeast Asia, and they're used in treating various animal and human ailments over the centuries. And the medical benefits are attributed to seeds, and particularly the seed oil, black cumin seed oil. We've done some work at CytoSolve with one of the largest manufacturers of it because they really want to understand what were the components, how they work together. But black cumin seed oil or black cumin seeds. Okay, so there's two ways that you can look at the black cumin seeds, and it's known as Nigella sativa. Sativa, Nigella. So that's Nigella sativa is the official name of black cumin seed. It's reasonably well researched. There's close to 2,900 research articles, 72 clinical trials, and it's been researched over the last 55 years. Now, this is by no means anywhere near some of the other products that we've looked at, but I think it's been around, as we'll talk about, for nearly 3,000 years. But relative to the modern research on it, it's still somewhat new. I mean, when you compare it to other things that we've looked at where, people have done like glutathione. We talked about glutathione several days ago, I think about a week ago. Glutathione had nearly 17,000 research articles and thousands of clinical trials. So in the Western world of research, these new products or new ingredients that come from the East are relatively new to have research on, but you can see it's pretty, there's a lot of papers on it, 2,900 papers. Now, if you had to go through all of these papers and read it, imagine the effort that you'd have to go through. So when we take a systems approach, we take all of those papers and we don't cherry pick, and we try to intersect them, curate them, and try to get a more whole understanding of what this is about. So the way we do that is with our technology, CytoSolve, and I'll shortly play a video to really educate you on what is CytoSolve. But CytoSolve, fundamentally, it's a technology that came out of my PhD work at MIT, and the goal of CytoSolve was to really use the computer to model complex diseases and biomolecular functions and to eliminate animal testing. But we have the ability to take all those papers, in this case 2,900 papers, curate them, from those papers extract out the molecular mechanisms, and attribute it, let's say, to a particular area. Like in this case today, we're going to talk about the immune system. And then we're able to, and today we're going to share with you some of that information. We're publishing it to you, and then we can iterate this and refine this. Now, CytoSolve really came out of an effort that recognizes that the pharmaceutical drug development process, where you take a single compound and you go through this whole long, sometimes 13-year process, close to $5 billion, to figure out if this particular drug will have a effect on a particular disease. Typically, you do test tube testing, then people kill animals, and if the animal testing shows it's not too toxic or won't kill humans, you can then jump to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 human clinical trials. But the problem is that this entire process is broken. As you can see, they spend more and more and more money, investing in this process. And in fact, even the FDA is approving less and less new compounds. This is why many of the pharmaceutical companies, because of the regulations, because of the testing that's needed, in fact, because of the fact the FDA is also not allowing their drugs, they see, the jab or the vax market much more viable for them, because you don't need to do as much testing and you can't actually be sued. So Many pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer's revenues dropped by nearly $25 billion in the last 9 to 10 years. And that's why the quote unquote current event where they can jab people is very valuable for them, because it's explosively going to grow their revenue. But this is, for those of you who didn't understand, this is what's going on with pharma. When I created CytoSolve, and I'll show you, I'll play this video for you that'll give you the details of CytoSolve. The aim was, wow, we could eliminate animal testing. I could help predict for these pharma companies that their stuff is toxic. Don't even bother doing this, save people's lives. But they're really not that interested in it. In fact, not that different than big vitamin guys. They're pushing more marketing, less, really science. So let me play this video for you before I show you how we've used CytoSolve to understand the effect of black cumin seeds on the immune system. So let me play that for you here. Invent email and create CytoSolve to revolutionize. Who would have ever thought someone like me would invent email and create CytoSolve to revolutionize health for personalized and precision medicine, a system for delivering the right medicine for the right person at the right time? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. As a child, I observed my grandmother, a poor village farmer, practice Siddha, India's oldest system of medicine, to heal local villagers by observing their face, to know their unique constitution, to deliver a unique combination of foods, healing herbs, and massage. The caste system and her abilities to heal inspired me to understand the interconnectedness of all life. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, technologist, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. As a 14-year-old, I began working as a full-time research fellow at Rutgers Medical School to unravel the mysteries of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, and created the world's first email system long before I ever heard of MIT. As I traversed academia over the next 3 decades, I observed self-serving academics, never solving real problems, writing grant after grant, competing for tenure, while diminishing real science and real scientists, pushing a reductionist science to destroy the scientific method. Like the blind men who never saw the whole elephant, but the parts, they delivered a dismembered view of reality. I observed Big Pharma use such reductionism, wasting billions year after year to fund research in test tubes, killing animals, and using the poor as guinea pigs for clinical testing to create products that even the FDA no longer allowed. Not only Big Pharma practiced this reductionism, but also the elites of Big Vitamin, Big Green, and Big New Age, with gurus and yogis, empowered by Hollywood celebrities, selling one supplement after another based on a cherry-picked science. All that changed in 2003 when the Human Genome Project ended, revealing that humans have the same number of genes, about 20,000, as that of a worm, giving rise to a systems biology. We realized that one-size-fits-all medicine was a failure. We realized their medicines were killing us, making today's generation's lifespan shorter than any previous generation. Obesity, heart disease, deaths from adverse reaction to drugs, confusion on what diet, what supplements, and who to believe is what they have delivered you. They push natural and organic products for your beauty and wellness, while their real solution is their plastic surgeons and Botox. We've been sold out. It's time for real science, a system science that interconnects the parts to discover truth, to know what really works, to get the health we need and deserve. This is why I created CytoSolve. CytoSolve is about truth, freedom, and health versus power, profit, and control. CytoSolve is a revolutionary technology integrating bioinformatics, computational biology, mathematical modeling, decentralization to reveal the truth. CytoSolve computes trillions of potential combinations of biomolecular interactions to discover what actually works based on the actual science. No reductionism, no cherry picking. CytoSolve's predictive modeling has been proven accurate time and time again, matching laboratory results. CytoSolve discovers synergistic combinations of compounds to maximize health and reduce toxicity. For example, we know curcumin from turmeric and resveratrol from red grapes alleviate inflammation, but how much should we combine? Current methods are hand-waving at best. Here, with CytoSolve, we first model the control condition with no curcumin and no resveratrol to simulate high inflammation with the cytokine level at 0.15 micromolar. Next, we add just 5 micromolars of curcumin. The inflammation drops to 0.05. Next, we use 5 micromolars of resveratrol and the inflammation drops from 0.15 to 0.06. But when we combine curcumin and resveratrol of 3 micromolars of curcumin and 2 micromolars of resveratrol, inflammation drops from 0.15 to 0.03, far lower, nearly 200% less than just one compound alone. That's the synergy principle of system science. We've all had enough of their fake and reductionist science. They think we'll simply keep buying their marketing, their celebrities, and their products that can never truly heal us. We don't need them. Great things come when we integrate the best of things. It's our time. It's time we delivered solutions for ourselves. It's time for truth, freedom, and health. It's time for CytoSolve. Welcome. So I hope that helps you understand what CytoSolve is. It's really an engine that came out of my PhD work to really use a computer like we used to build airplanes so we don't kill pilots and we figure out all the mistakes ahead of time. But it's a very powerful bioinformatics engine, but it's also an engine for doing modeling. We recently created a product which sold out very fast. So we have a whole new supply coming in, and shipments are going out again this weekend because of this COVID nonsense. There's been quote unquote supposedly delays. We don't know if it's real or not, but I just want to let you know, please be patient. Another shipment's going out today and we'll be putting it back up. But we sold that very, very rapidly of a product that we created for pain and inflammation. So let me go back to our discussion here on black cumin seeds now that everyone has a deeper appreciation for this. So when you look at, can everyone see this? Good. So let's talk about black cumin seeds. So what does black cumin seeds have? What is the molecular composition of black cumin seeds? So let's really discuss that. What is the molecular composition? Okay. So when you look at black cumin seeds have 62 compounds. So again, as I mentioned, remember, a drug, again, just to be clear, this is what makes food food. Food is medicine, but it's a combination medicine. It's a combination therapeutic. A drug only has typically one compound. Out of all the drugs the FDA has approved, there's only one 4-compound drug. There's, I think, maybe a handful, like 3 or 4 3-compound drugs. And I think there's a couple of 100 2-compound drugs, but the majority of drugs are just a single compound. Okay? Just think about that. A single compound, which is manufactured in a lab that doesn't occur in nature. But when you look at something like black cumin seed, it has 62 compounds. So food is a multi-combination, quote unquote, drug, right? Food is medicine. And by the way, your body is a pharmaceutical engine. You meet friends and you're happy, your body will actually upregulate all sorts of antimicrobials, anti-inflammatories. You're angry, you're upset, you're stressed out, your body will lower its antimicrobials, or you feel isolated and depressed, and your body will manufacture inflammatory molecules. So just think about it. It's quite amazing, right? So nature, in this case, when you look at something like black cumin seeds, has close to, in this case, 62 different compounds, fatty acids, minerals, polyphenols, phytosterols, and vitamins. So it's got a number of a range of compounds. So just think about this is fatty acids, minerals, polyphenols, phytosterols, and vitamins. 62 different compounds as we know today. So what are those minerals? You can see, this is what's quite amazing. It's almost like black cumin seed oil is like milk, 100 milliliters of black cumin seed oil has 1,500 calcium and 1,200 milligrams of magnesium, 7,700 milligrams of potassium, 4,500 milligrams of phosphorus. An incredible, just look at that. Look at the potency of the minerals it has, particularly the calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus. Okay? That's 100 milliliters of black cumin seed oil. So 1/10 of or 1,000th of a liter, all right? Then you look at the vitamins, 0.77 milligrams of vitamin C, 0.62 milligrams of vitamin E. Those are the two predominant vitamins. But Very, very mineral rich. And you can think about it when you see something that's like black like the earth. I mean, you'll find that typically the things that are dark, right? In Eastern medicine, they call it earth, right? Are made of the earth. They have minerals in them, and that's what you can see. And just keep that in mind. You know, when you see dark things, typically have more minerals. Let's talk about the compounds. What are the molecular compounds? We're going to come back to this first important compound, thymoquinone. Okay, thymoquinone, one of the very important compounds that give the medicinal benefits in black cumin seed. But it's not only thymoquinone, but it's nigellone, p-cymine, carbacrol, alpha-theugene, thymol, alpha-pinene. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 7 major compounds, and you can see the chemical structures are quite different. Obviously, thymol, which sometimes appears in things like products, I think like things like Listerine or certain products like that, right? Carbacrol, they have a very similar structure if you see here. And someone said even some of the ancient texts Islam talks about black seeds cure everything but death. Interesting. Yeah. So you can see the OH group is a little bit different than here. This is p-cymine. Nigellone has a number of carbon groups over here. And alpha-pinene, very different structure, but closely related to alpha-theugene. And here's thymoquinone. As you can see, it's got 2 double bond O. So I love looking at these structures. These are organic compounds, but 7 compounds with the medicinal benefits. These are the ones that we've identified so far. So what are the biological effects of black cumin seed? Well, a number of important biological effects, as you can see. Oops, I did anti-diabetic twice. But you can see it's analgesic, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, immunomodulator, antiviral, and antibacterial. We're going to talk about these 3 over here near 7 o'clock, around 8 o'clock and sort of 9:30 o'clock. We'll talk about when we come to dosaging for children, what the dosaging is, but health benefits. Well, it's got an immense number of health benefits, as you can see. Backache, arthritis, bruises and rheumatism, tired leg muscles, hair loss, diarrhea, lethargy, headaches, colic, intestinal parasites, high blood pressure, stomach problems, skin fungus, sinusitis, earache, acne, colds and flus, nervous tension. So it's got a number of many, as you can see, it's got almost as many places or more as the hands on a clock. But some people would call this, in some systems of medicine, they call it one of those things that's almost a miracle food, because it has so many different uses. It's almost like your body needs this, but you can see it has quite a number of minerals. Someone said, yes, black cumin seeds are good, and black garlic. I haven't tried black garlic, but thank you for letting me know that. So there we go. So a number of biological benefits, a number of also health benefits. We're going to talk today about the immune system, right? As we do in this immune system series, we're going to talk about the immune system. But what is the immune system? Well, the current or the conventional idea of the immune system consists of 2 boxes: the innate immune system and the adaptive. And these 2 talk together. What you're going to learn is this is not a whole systems understanding of the immune system. This is, at best, it's a reductionist or a highly immature understanding of the immune system. And what we see here is that in this model of the immune system, your body has only in the innate system and only in the adaptive, and the goal is to create antibodies. So if your body is exposed to a pathogen, if you get an antibody, therefore you're okay. So let me again emphasize that the conventional way that typically the average medical doctor learns about the immune system is that there's only 2 parts of the immune system. the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. And in that understanding of the body, if you get antibodies, you're great. Okay. So the entire sort of effort of modern medicine, or the entire narrow approach, you're welcome. The entire narrow approach to looking at the body's immune system to say, oh, if you get antibodies, you're in great shape. Okay, so just think about that. And as I've shared, and the analogy I think I've developed on this to explain this to everyone is, think about you go to hear a band in a concert, right? Or you go to an orchestra if you like classical music. And typically, you know, if you go to listen to a band or an orchestra, there's not just one instrument. There's many instruments. There may be the percussion, the drums. There may be the keyboards, right, or an organ. There may be the woodwinds, right? There may be the brass section, but there's many different parts of an orchestra. Now imagine if I told you go to an orchestra and the conductor just simply points at the drums, and all you hear is drums all day, probably. And the goal of the music was just to get drums going. Well, that isn't the full scope of what's possible or what exists. So when you look at the immune system, the current conventional wrong view, or the limited view, or the reductionist views, if your body has an antibody for a particular pathogen or virus in this case, then you're great. Is that true? Well, what I want to share with you in this part is, in my research and the research that I presented, that's this concept of the immune system is unfortunately a limited view of the understanding of the immune system. Am I saying it's wrong? Well, I'm saying it's a limited view. Okay, if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, it's a limited view of the immune system. The reality is that the immune system doesn't just have the innate and the adaptive, and we'll show that. So let's look at, for example, something like, you know, when someone gets a virus in their lungs. So let's say the top here is your lung airways, and over here, the bottom below the skin. So here's your lung epithelial, which is a lining of your lungs. And what you see here is when the virus comes in, your innate immune system includes things like macrophages, which do what's called phagocytosis. So that's over here in the innate system. And where are those macrophages in the innate immune system? Where is it actually located? Well, it's actually located in the part of your body that faces the world. So in your eyes, in your throat, in your mucous membranes, in your skin, anything that's the orifices that are open to the world, your ears, right? And so when you're exposed to, or when you breathe in, right? Because that's all exposed. You breathe in, it goes down your airways. And what we're seeing here, in this case right here, let me go back here, is the top. Imagine that's your airway where the virus comes in. And what you're seeing here is when that virus comes in, what we want to understand is that when that virus comes in right there, right on the top, that's your innate immune system will try to take it out with these macrophages. Macrophages are like monsters that go try to eat up the virus. But when they chomp on that virus, they're basically dismembering it. And you have many, many parts of the virus flying around or being, put out everywhere. As a macrophage moves through the lung epithelium, so this is the lining of your lungs, known as the lung epithelial tissue, it is presenting the parts of the virus components, like let's say the spike proteins, to something called the T cells. This is part of the T cells are part of your adaptive system, okay? And the purpose of the adaptive system is to produce an antibody. So where the innate system tries to eat up the virus, the innate system communicates in this inaccurate model, in my view, to the adaptive immune system, which presents the components of the virus to what's called the CD4 plus T cells, which then do two things. On the one hand, they tell the CD8 T cells, hey, here's that virus, now go start chomping it up. It's eat up basically the infected cell. So the infected cell gets destroyed. It's called cytotoxicity. Toxicity, cyto means cell, you're eating up the cell. But the CD4 plus T cell here also leads to the activation of B cells, which create these little V things called antibodies. So all of this is happening together. This typically happens first, and this happens much later. And these antibodies have memory. So in the future, when they see this virus, they will stop it. So the point is that this is the notion of the innate and adaptive immune system, the two blue boxes. But the reality is my research, which I present at the National Science Foundation, shows that this is not the right approach. The modern approach of the immune system is a systems approach, a systems immunology approach, where it's not just the innate and the adaptive, but you have another very powerful system called the interferon system, which I've done a whole video on it for those of you who want to learn in detail. The interferon system also is the missing link between the innate and the adaptive. It communicates also to the microbiome, your gut bacteria. You have about 380 trillion viruses, right? So there's a huge interaction, a lot of it which we still don't understand that well. And this all connects to the neural system. So when you want to think about it, the immune system is not just the innate and the adaptive. It includes many of these other subsystems. So it includes the percussion, not just the percussion, it includes the brass. So, it includes the organs, and includes the violin. It includes many, many different pieces. So this is more of an orchestral systems approach to understanding the immune system. And in fact, when you think about the interferon system, your interferon system has these things called many different kinds of interferons. Interferon 1, 2, and 3. Here we're looking at interferon 1, type 1, which includes interferon alpha and interferon beta. And these interferons are in virtually every cell of your body. And why are interferons important? Because interferons create an antiviral environment in the cells, and they constitute the first line of defense against infections. Now, interferons, I mean, again, you can go listen to the long video, but your body, when it's exposed to a pathogen, the innate system kicks in, and then it also calls upon the interferon system. My PhD work was in this field, and the interferon system actually upregulates, interesting enough, the interferon system upregulates many, many genes that have been recently found, thousands of genes. But one of the goals of the interferon system is to activate natural killer cells, which go attack the virus. And all of this is occurring long before the antibodies. That's why there are people who don't have any antibodies. They're exposed to the virus, but they don't have any symptoms because their interferon system took the virus out. Okay? So my point is, it's not just about antibodies. That's really the punchline. Unfortunately, the mainstream media, the big academia, everything's antibodies, antibodies, antibodies. But there's many other components of your immune system. For example, the microbiome. I did a talk several days ago talking about what happens when you wear masks, how it affects the microbiome in your mouth, which can affect immune health, which can have your teeth rot, which can get your gums bleeding. So there are many, many different subsystems beyond just antibodies. That's really the takeaway. This is much more of a holistic view of the immune system. So how does black cumin seeds, what is the effect of black cumin seeds on immune health, now that you have a quick background on the immune system? And by the way, the background that I just shared with you on the immune system, which really looks at the interferons and microbiome, just that little diagram, you should share it with, if you have friends who are doctors or your doctors, ask them, do you know what the interferon system is? Most of them have not even studied it, but they're really the missing link between the innate and the adaptive. Okay, so how does immune health boosted by black cumin seeds? First of all, black cumin seeds modulates the immune response via anti-inflammatory mechanisms. And in the two ways black cumin seeds are shown to be valuable for the immune system is through antiviral activity, antibacterial activity. And bacteria do not develop resistance for black cumin seed. Remember, the problem with there are people who take antibiotics all day. And what happens is this for bacteria, and the bacteria develop resistance to. So they got to go get another antibiotic, another one. But black cumin seed doesn't develop resistance to bacteria. So it's in that sense, it's more powerful than these antibiotics. Okay, so let's talk about how this happens. So the left side of the diagram here, as you're looking at it, really has what's called a summary of the molecular mechanisms. The right side is a more descriptive piece. So one of the effects of black cumin seeds on the immune system is it modulates inflammatory enzymes and cytokines. So if you look on the NF kappa beta, which I've talked many, many times, as many of you know, NF kappa beta is the part of your, let me just put some battery here. Let's see, I think I'm going to, let's see if this works. If I do this, and I put it here over here, I may be able to get some juice for this before knocking the other ones out. Okay, there. Okay, so what you see here is that inflammation, we know, leads to disproportionate immune response, okay? So why is this important? If you have inflammation going on in your body, lots of it, you know, there are people who just have chronic inflammation all the time. And when you have high inflammation going on, your body is in a weakened immune system state. So you don't want that, and your body's, so when inflammation's taking place in your body, there's this transcription factor called NF-kappa beta, NF-kappa beta. Someone says, will I be able to watch this live on your website? You can go watch it on YouTube. You can also go watch it on, we are about to launch our live on our website shortly. Just keep an eye out for it. Anytime this week or next week, we're going to be launching our live. Thank you for asking. So inflammation will lead to this transcription factor, NF-kappa beta, which will promote the expression of two inflammatory enzymes, COX-2 and 5-LOX, 5-LOX and COX-2. So when you have NF-kappa beta, when inflammation is going on, COX-2 and 5-LOX are created. COX-2 then upregulates PGE2, which causes inflammation. 5-LOX creates leukotrienes, which cause inflammation. All right. So the inflammatory mechanisms here, that's what we call it. It's a pathways. You have, on the one hand, PGE2, prostaglandin 2, and you also have leukotrienes. Those two products create inflammation. You don't want to have PGE2 and leukotrienes in high levels, especially if you're sitting around. Obviously, if you hit your hand with a hammer, you need the inflammatory response to go heal it, but you don't want that going on all the time in your body. So you want healthy inflammation, not this kind of inflammation. So NF-kappa beta actually will upregulate PGE2 and leukotrienes because it activates COX-2 and it activates something known as 5-LOX. And so because of that, you get inflammation. Well, guess what? This molecule, if you remember, this is called Thymoquinone from black cumin seed. It inhibits, that's what the red with the hammer at the end of it is. It inhibits NF-kappa beta, thereby inhibiting the expression of PG2 and inhibiting the expression of leukotrienes. So this is one way that black cumin seed modulates inflammation, because it's knocking this out. Okay? Now, black cumin seed also has antiviral activity. So how does it do that? Well, black cumin seed oil will upregulate IFN gamma. Remember I told you about the interferon system, which is a missing link between the innate and the adaptive. Very powerful thing that, again, people like Fauci won't talk about, most medical doctors do not know about, which is inside your body. You have a very powerful system in your body called the interferon system. So we have various kinds of interferons, interferon 1, interferon 2, and interferon 3. Interferon 1 is things like interferon alpha and beta, but interferon 2 is things called interferon gamma. Well, interferon gamma is extremely valuable and important to your body. Uh, 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 so, for example, the higher interferon gamma involves, you get more macrophages. What were those macrophages? Those macrophages are those cells which are part of your innate immune system. So again, let me just, if you remember when I talked about, so here's your interferon system, the gamma system. The gamma system helps produce more macrophages, which support your innate system, but it also produces, as you can see right here, it also helps produce more cytotoxic T cells, which take out the infected cells, okay, of the virus. So again, very powerful. Interferon gamma affects your innate and your adaptive. And guess what? Look at this. Black cumin seed oil supports the upregulation of interferon gamma, okay? Black cumin seed oil increased the production of interferon gamma. Think about what this means. It's quite profound. So black cumin seed oil will boost the levels of interferon gamma. Interferon gamma then will boost the amount of your innate macrophages to go fight off the virus right in your early stage immune system. But interferon gamma also supports your cytotoxic, okay, T cells. So if one of your cells is infected by a virus, the interferon gamma will upregulate the cytotoxic T cells, which will actually go eat up the infected cells. So it supports the innate and the adaptive immune system, okay? Very, very profound effects, what it does, right? Black cumin seed oil. This is why it's a very powerful and has very powerful antiviral activities. And again, according to the science, by the way, macrophages and cytotoxic T cells, they go and knock out the virus. That's what macrophages do. And the cytotoxic T cells help to go hit the infected cells. Now, the literature and the science says that it's effective against hepatitis C as well as murine cytomegalovirus, okay? CMG, okay? So it has powerful effects, proven effects on having antiviral effects. The other piece is now we've talked about the anti-inflammatory effect of black cumin seed. We've talked about the antiviral. Let's talk about the antibacterial. Now, bacteria, some of you may remember I've talked about something called a biofilm. Bacteria like to live under a biofilm. This is why it's important to brush your teeth. This is why people who get, when you wake up in the morning, get that film over your mouth, very important to brush and floss and all those good things. But underneath that film is where the bacteria lie. So, for example, people, I've shared this a couple of days ago, there's a notion that those people who have Lyme disease, it comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, because the bacteria hide underneath this biofilm. So one theory of really knocking out Lyme is, first of all, you have to knock out the biofilm. And then, even if you're going to use antibiotics or other powerful agents, you have to take out that biofilm first, okay? So some people say there are certain diets that do that. Low carbohydrate diets help remove the biofilm, and then you can go knock out the bacteria, all right? But the important scientific point here is that bacteria lie in this biofilm, and Thymoquinone has been shown to have a broad spectrum antibacterial activity, okay? Thymoquinone exerts its antibacterial effect through inhibition of the biofilm formation. A biofilm is a community of bacteria attached to a biotic surface that allows them to survive in a hostile environmental conditions. Inhibition of the biofilm by Thymoquinone kills the exposed bacteria effectively. Now, a related molecule to Thymoquinone is thymol. I believe if you look at Listerine, it has thymol in it. This is why when people wash with Listerine with the thymol, it breaks down that biofilm. But Thymoquinone is even more powerful than breaking down that biofilm, right? Very, very valuable here, right? So let's go back. Now, the antibacterial effect of black cumin seed oil is also effective against several bacteria, including Staphylococcus, Listeria, and P. gingivalis, which causes periodontal disease. And bacteria do not develop resistance to Thymoquinone, Okay, so thymoquinone is effective against at least Staphylococcus, Listeria, which causes listeriosis, and this causes Staphylococcus, staph infections, but P. gingivalis, which is the thing that leads to periodontal disease. And bacteria do not develop resistance to thymoquinone. All right. Now, what I've shared with you here in these examples here, you can see black cumin seed oil has a multifaceted effect. It's anti-inflammatory by knocking down NF-kappa beta. It's antiviral by eliciting the response of macrophages and cytotoxic T cells. And it also, knocks out the biofilm, and it's antibacterial. So why am I sharing this with you? Because what you'll find in nature is that nature supports or wants synergy. It just doesn't want, the difference is if you look at drugs, they just have this, one shot effect. Okay. This is why you get a jab for a particular virus. Well, if that virus mutates, well, you got to get another jab and another jab. Okay. But what we're talking about here is that when you look at something like black cumin seed, it has a synergistic effect hitting multiple different aspects. So if you take that same principle of system science, I want to just take a quick break here, and I'm going to play a video for you, is that I want all of you to understand, if you notice there's a scrolling bar here, it says, become a truth, freedom, and health warrior. So for the last 50 years, my goal has been to take the understanding of systems, which came out of my study of engineering, electrical engineering systems, mechanical engineering systems, design systems, and biological engineering. I went back to India for my Fulbright, and I was able to interconnect Eastern systems of medicine with engineering systems theory, and then connect that to political theory. So, medical theory, political theory, right? As well as related to Eastern medicines, systems of medicine. What you find is that every system in the universe shares the same properties. And one of those properties is the interconnection of synergy. So when we look at political systems, what we have is those in power want us to, blacks and whites fighting, left and right fighting. They never want to solve anything significantly. So they want to keep everything dispersed. The body doesn't want that. The body tries to interconnect things. And as a part of that interconnection, what the body wants to do is it really wants you to appreciate this notion of interconnection. So just taking a quick step back, because I want all of you to become truth, freedom, and health warriors. I expect to see all of you in my Monday night classes, but I'm going to play a quick video that'll help you understand that. But before I play that video, I want to just emphasize this point that we need to take a system synergy approach. So for far too long, if you think about the people who want science and who want truth and all those things, the nerds, they typically will be fighting for truth, right? Nerds, quote unquote nerds. And then over here, the freedom people, some people call them quote unquote rednecks. They want the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, good people, right? But they're over here being seen as conservatives, quote unquote aggressive people. And they're doing their thing, right? And then over here, you have the people wanting good health. They want people to eat well. They want organic food. They're called health nuts. But the reality is we need to bring all these together. We need the synergy to win. We need freedom, because without freedom, we can't practice science to get to truth. So the nerds need the quote unquote rednecks, okay? And without truth and freedom, we can't find the real problems and the real solution, find out what's really real for our health. And when we have health, we have the strength to fight for freedom and the strength to explore truth. So I want all of you to understand that when you take a systems approach, we start looking at the interconnections. Strength comes from the interconnections, not by just doing any one thing. It's the interconnections. This is why food is medicine, because in this case of, we're looking at, black cumin seed has nearly 68 compounds, and we're seeing the multiplicity of effect it has. It's antiviral, it's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, right? When drugs are created, oh, this drug's for anti-inflammation. Oh, that drug is for antibacterial. That drug is for, whatever, right? But food affects multiple subsystems. If we're going to when we apply those same principles, we can understand that's how we're going to win. So I want all of you to listen to this video. If you've heard it before, listen to it again. I want all of you to support this movement that we're building. It's really for you. You're not supporting me, you're supporting you. And by the way, you don't need a leader. You need to recognize everything you have is within yourself. What needs to be unlocked is a systems understanding. And I'm more of a catalyst right now in a larger chemical equation, trying to working hard, and it's working very well. We're growing exponentially. We have close to 10,000 people who've gone through the Truth, Freedom, and Health Warrior training. Our goal is to have 50,000 people by the end of this year who become Truth, Freedom, and Health Warriors. That's how we're going to stop listening to the WWF wrestling of Trump versus Bernie, Biden versus whoever the hell it is. They're just playing with you guys. They're not going to solve anything. Only you can solve the things. And that is going to come with an understanding of systems. It's going to come with us building community, and it's going to come with you being active. An activist, let me repeat that again. It's going to come with you getting educated on system science. It's going to come with you building community among your fellow warriors, people are raising their political consciousness, and then taking activity. So what I've done is on the VA Shiva platform, I've provided you education. I'm providing you the ability to build community independent of big tech. And I'm also providing you ways that you can be activated. Let me play the video and I'll come back and show all of that, and we'll finish up Black Cumin Seed. So here we go. Let me play this for you. And the end goal is we have allowed our country to be taken over from within. And the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution, and that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training, because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, right? Talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up. Working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers. Completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people, Dave, to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is a not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is a not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you. On the left and the right, the Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you, the Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow, some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. And that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game, and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done. And it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these 4 concepts I've built into a curriculum. People can go to vashiva.com. And it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics. And I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. The Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on V as in Victor, A, Shiva, vashiva.com, so people can sign in. They can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there. But we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to VA Shiva, Victory America Shiva, vashiva.com. All right, so I encourage all of you to go to vashiva.com/join. What I've built there for all of you and our team has built and all supported by you is a platform. Many people said, Shiva, why don't you go build another Twitter, go build a social media? Look, I've done there, been there. It's interesting. I made money doing that. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry is now building a social platform. And it's becoming a left-right thing, you know? If you watch it, people who don't even know any technology are going, supposedly building them. You know, Trump is going to build one, you know, and whoever. What I'm interested in building is a platform that you can use to educate. And I'm really not that sure how much these platforms really help, except people just barking at each other, okay? What we've done here, when you go to vashiva.com, let me just share that with you. What we've done is we've created an environment that you can actually experience and take advantage of 3 very powerful things. One of them is the fact that when you log in and you sign in, again, this is running on our own infrastructure. I want to emphasize this. A lot of people think it's easy to run a hosting data center. It took me, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. It's a lot of work to do this. So we have our own building, we have our own data center. Our data center we're not reliant on someone else, but in our data center, when you contribute to you, which is for supporting the movement, your education, all of those monies we plow right into supporting our infrastructure or personnel to support that. So when you log into vashiva.com and you sign in and there's various things. You don't have to contribute anything. You can become a member for nothing, but there's a whole range of things you can do. As a warrior, you get access to the concept of getting educated. So first step is 3 things here. I want you to get educated, not to be enslaved. And you're going to understand when you go through the course with me, this diagram, people spend, for 2-3 years at MIT really understanding this diagram. In a few hours, I will teach you this. This is really the science of systems. You will then get access to a book called System and Revolution. I think this is a best-selling book. We've sold close to 100,000 copies now. System and Revolution. And with this book, you'll really understand sort of 50 years of knowledge. Anyone can understand it. You don't need to be an MIT person. You don't need to be good at math, but you will understand the concepts of systems. And then once you understand these concepts, I also make available on top of this a tool called Your Body, Your System, where you can, on the right side, you can figure out what kind of system you are. What are the foods that work for you? You can take charge of your own health by understanding your body as a system. And by the way, people who contribute 25 or more get both of these right away. Then the other thing is you also get access to the Systems Health portal, where you can start educating yourself, taking courses, getting certified. And then you also get access to reports, which will teach you why food is medicine. And then you'll also understand where you can take these courses online and educate others. And then finally, in addition to that, it's like I feel like I'm Steve Jobs, and you also get 3 other books: The Science of Everything, Your Body, Your System, Your Life, where you'll understand you can apply systems thinking to every aspect of existence. Okay, and then also you get the scientific paper I wrote, which I intersected systems theory with Eastern systems of medicine. Look, systems theory, you can use it to explain anything, what occurs. It's scalable. You can use it to explain how a cell works, how your entire body works, how a political system works. So that's the contribution I've made. You can't get this education anywhere else. But the reason you need to get this education for your own advancement is if you don't take a systems approach, you won't understand the importance of truth, freedom, and health. You won't understand the reason why we need to build a bottoms-up movement. That, and to hell with the Democrats, Republicans, to hell with Trump, to hell with Bernie, to hell with Democrats, to hell with Republicans, to hell with the left, to hell with the right. They don't want to solve anything, guys. And if you want to play that game, you're basically in kindergarten level. And I'm not interested in teaching kindergartners. I don't think you want to stay at that level. What I want to do is create Jedi Knights at the PhD level so you understand systems thinking, so you can be your own Navy SEAL, your own nuclear physicist, freeing yourself. So first thing we do is on the platform, we give you access to immense educational tools that you cannot get anywhere else. First step. The second capability, and again, this is in our own infrastructure, is I just don't want you to stop here. I want you to, and by the way, this is all of these tools. There's about 9 different gifts you get for people who contribute $100 or more. I think if you try to get this, when I was teaching it at MIT, you're probably going to pay $5,000 or $10,000. All right. So this is about you. This is my public service to all of you. Second is the tool allows you to build community. We have a thing called the VA Shiva Forum. You can go in here and start intersecting with people all over the world, independent of big tech. Start having discussions on questions. You go try to have a discussion on vaccines online, you're going to get thrown off, okay? But not here, or vitamin D, etc. And then finally, you can have a discussion where our warriors, can actually create their own equivalent of Facebook pages we call VA Shiva Social and start connecting there. So here's all these people are creating their own pages, right? And then they can have their own Facebook type pages and they can intersect, okay? Independent of big tech. But do we stop there? No. It's not just for you getting the theory, which is the science, which you can't get anywhere else. The second thing is I want you to build community, because what's going to happen is, as someone just wrote here, I think, Carmen, your political consciousness is going to grow. You're going to start realizing, wow, I'm at this level and I'm talking to people who still think Trump, didn't screw them over. Or, Trump just put out that he wants everyone to get jabbed, and he thinks the J&J, pause was a bad thing. I don't care for Biden or Trump nowadays, but Biden at least said, let's pause it a little bit, okay? But again, I don't like either of them, but we're dealing in a world that we have WWF wrestling. So it's not left or right, so you're going to learn that from the systems. You're going to also learn how to build community, because you're going to need it, because your consciousness is going to raise. And you want to be among other Jedi, okay? And then the next thing you're going to learn is what you can do locally. We don't want people just to be, politically conscious and with education and building community. I want you to go do stuff on the ground. It's like, you learn engineering. It's not just books. You got to go do stuff. So I want you to get activated. So in order to get activated, we have created tools for you. And by the way, there's more. When I did the screenshot, there's more up there. You can go educate people on what's really going on with masks, right? It's really about the oral microbiome, right? So here's the front of the card with our branding, with Dr.SHIVA, right? Truth, Freedom, and Health. There's a link just for masks where we have a whole scientific lecture on it. But you can educate your neighbors about the oral microbiome, about the child's microbiome, how it's important to their future health. That systems biology reveals how masks disrupt that microbiome, how dentists are reporting increased issues, and then the public health implications, right? That, maybe your employer should give you more dental health insurance, right? If you're going to have to get more teeth cleanings. Same thing on the vax, anti-vax, right? This is really not about vax or anti-vax. It's really about boosting immunity. These cards you can get online. You can print them. We're also actually going to print them and start offering them and so on, okay? So the net of it is I want all of you to become truth, freedom, and health warriors. Everything, the reason I do the talk on Black Cumin Seeds and the immune system is both of them are systems. Your body is an immune system. Black Cumin Seed is actually a system. It's a system of many combinations of compounds that when you consume that, you have two systems interacting. So no different than if we want truth, freedom, and health, we have to figure out how you need to interact with the world around us to achieve that, not only individually, but collectively. All right. So everything's interconnected, as above, so below. So Black Cumin Seeds. Now let's take an engineering systems approach. What I've done so far is I've given you a molecular systems approach. But one of the things that you can learn is how your body is a system. That came out of my Fulbright research. And what you can understand there is that the body can be also seen as a engineering system, okay? And cumin seeds can be seen as that. So by the way, all of you who become supporters or warriors will get access to the tool, Your Body, Your System. And Your Body, Your System will actually allow you to understand the system called transport, conversion, and storage, the three aspects of the universe. And when you answer a set of questions, again, this is all a gift that I give to you. It took me 20 years to build this tool. You can figure out what kind of system you are. It'll figure out where the red dot will go anywhere, which is everyone's red dot will move, which is what kind of system you are. Then you can answer a different set of questions to figure out where you are today, which is that black dot. You're supposed to be in the red area. And then the tool helps you figure out what are the right foods, the right supplements, the right exercises you can use to bring the red black dot back to the red dot. And by the way, once again, those of you who are supporters, you get access to the tool plus this for 25 or more, okay? But please become a warrior. You deserve more than this. Please take advantage of the gifts. Now, what does Black Cumin Seed Oil do? Well, Black Cumin Seed stabilizes transport, which is the motion aspect of the body. So if it calms you down, Black Cumin Seed Oil increases pitta. And by the way, when you take the course, you'll understand this. This is conversion, which means it supports digestion. Black Cumin Seed Oil stabilizes kapha, diabetes, which means fat, right? Storage. So you can see Black Cumin Seed Oil calms you down, which is movement, transport. It basically reduces fat storage, but it increases metabolism. All right, very powerful. So how much should you take? Right? People have been asking me throughout this entire thing, what do I take? What do I take? Okay. Well, again, this is not a medical show, but I can share with you what the research shows clinically. So maintenance dose is around 250 to 1,000 milligrams a day of Black Cumin Seed Oil. For inflammation, by the way, you can get the oil in pill form, which comes in a gel, or you can actually just take a tablespoon. We have some, right? I keep it. It's great. You can throw it in a smoothie. It has a very powerful taste. I like it actually.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. You don't want to. I don't recommend cooking with this because these oils are really meant to be raw and consumed, and you can keep it in the refrigerator. I recommend in fact, most oils should be kept in there. You can even put some vitamin E in there to keep it, from oxidizing. It's for inflammation and rheumatoid arthritis. This research that came out about 10 years ago, Gita et al., 1,000 milligrams a day of Black Cumin Seed Oil. For anti-diabetic use, 1 to 3 grams of the seed. This is something in 2019. So when I grew up in India, this was known as people have high sugar. My grandmother would talk about it, But it's a cumin seed oil. Seeds, typically you can lightly roast these, very lightly. For immune boosting activity, both Kabaddi about 10 years ago said 2.4 to 4.8 grams. So just look at that. You can screenshot that if you want, but you can see there for various uses for the anti-diabetic, for immune boosting, for maintenance dose, etc. A wonderful, wonderful, powerful medicine in many ways, and you should explore it more. So what I wanted to share with you today is that Black Cumin Seed has antiviral effects, antibacterial effects, and it modulates the immune system. And I just shared with you the dosages. Again, it's a synergistic food. Let's wrap up and just look at the summary. So first of all, black cumin seed oil inhibits, let me just do this. It inhibits inflammatory enzymes, COX-2 and 5-LOX. By the way, when you take Advil, if you've ever had to take Advil, Advil actually blocks COX-2, but it does it everywhere, okay? This is much more, or COX, okay? This only blocks COX-2, okay? There's many different types of COX. When you take Advil, you're hitting COX all over your body, okay? But COX-2 is very specific. So black cumin seed oil hits COX-2, which is the enzyme that you want to downregulate to stop inflammation. It also stops 5-LOX, thereby modulating the immune response. Second thing we talked about, black cumin seed activates the innate immune cells to directly kill viruses. All right, and it does that through the interferon system, interferon gamma. But black cumin seed oil inhibits biofilm, okay, and it kills bacteria. By the way, some people have found it very valuable to even use black cumin seed oil for swishing, for oil pulling, okay, because of the Thymoquinone, which eliminates the biofilm, which kills the bacteria. And also important to understand is bacteria do not develop resistance to black cumin seed active compounds, Thymoquinone, okay? You take an antibiotic, tomorrow that bacteria have built a resistance to that. Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. I think there you go, okay? I think you've learned a lot about black cumin seed oil. I'm sure there's more to learn, and we'll keep coming back with new information. But that's the CytoSolve molecular systems analysis. So again, I want to emphasize to everyone that the research that we're doing here at VA Shiva is brought to you by you, okay? There's no commercials here. Your support. My goal is all of you become Truth, Freedom, and Health warriors, invite other people, but we need to grow this movement. We need to take a systems approach. And it is a systems approach that will lead us to truth, freedom, and health. It's not going to come from politicians. Forget these guys. If you're going to run for office or anything, do it to build the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Because we have selections in this country. We do not have elections. But if you want to be entertained, go watch stupid Tucker Carlson, okay? He's a doofus, actually. If you want to be entertained, go watch Chris Cuomo, another doofus, okay? These people are entertainers. They're not you. They're not working people. We need to go beyond left or right. We need to go beyond black and white. We need to build the movement of working people uniting. Working people unite for truth, freedom, and health. That's it. Beyond left and right, beyond black and white, working people unite for truth, freedom, and health. All right, everyone, thank you. Go become a truth, freedom, and health warrior. Do it for you. And when you do it for you, you do it for others, because we get to build this movement. Thank you. Any other big questions? Okay. All right, everyone. Have a good evening. It is 10:44. And by the way, thank you for all your ideas for lectures. We've been taking them. We have, in fact, the black cumin seed oil, someone proposed to us about a couple months ago. So this was delivering on your feedback.
It's a good idea.
Thank you. Be well. Go be a truth, freedom, and health warrior. Do it today. Do it for yourself. Do it for everyone. Okay. Thank you. Bye.